What's packing, cheese heads and football fans? Welcome back to another episode of the What's Packing Sports Show podcast. I am your host, Godchild the First, joined by my co-host Tom from the Green Bay house, live from Wisconsin. How was the weather today?
Beautiful today.
Beautiful, man. Sorry I can't say the same around here. Honestly, this has been the wettest summer I can remember in my 30 plus years of being alive and spending basically 30 of those, like all but 2.5 of those years in Maryland, like where I'm from. I can never remember raining this much. So not really a beautiful day. It was muggy and then very cloudy and just rainy, but it's a good day because we get to talk Packers today, man. And another day to talk Packers, another week, episode 34. Who we got for the nomination on episode 34?
I thought of two.
Well, we kind of gave one away last week, right? Amon Green was one.
Amon Green's second stint. Plus, Mike McKenzie was another one that came to mind.
Mike McKenzie, cornerback from, where was he from?
Mike
McKenzie. I want to say it was like a small school, like a HBCU or something. 34. I don't know if I have another 34 up my sleeve. Next 35, I'm gonna do some research, try to actually bring a couple of names to the table. Can I pull a 34 out of my hat? Wasn't Sam Gatto?
No.
Was he 34? I feel like there was like another 34 running back.
Edgar Bennett.
Edgar Bennett,
he was famous one on the list.
Wow, I don't even recall that. But okay, man, let's give it to Edgar Bennett. Episode 34 dedicated to my man Edgar Bennett. Speaking of the 90s teams, I was gonna originally say we could hold this off to the end, but since it kind of came up on said all-decade 1990 team, Leroy Leaping Butler.
Leap Vodka.
And he's got the Leap Vodka, but man, he's finally leaped his ass into the Hall of Fame. Did you get a chance to check out any of the Hall of Fame festivities with ceremony, I guess is the right word for it?
I haven't yet. I think I'm going to go back and I'll probably rewatch or watch the speech at some point here. But I was happy for him. I would say he was very deserving. Up until now, I think it was Jerry Kramer. Obviously, that was long overdue. And then Leroy Butler is probably the next one on the list. You would say, should have got in probably before. I think John Lynch and who was that other cat? Brian Dawkins.
Dawkins, yeah. I think
Yeah.
the recency bias for Brian Dawkins helped a lot, and he was definitely known as sort of that hard hit. I think both of those guys were known for being more hard hitting safeties, I would say, than Leroy Butler. Not saying that Leroy was a soft or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like his calling card was more so like, he did put big hits on you, but he made a lot of plays, man. He was flying all over the place. He had a lot of sacks, turnovers, and he was a short. I don't want to make it sound like he wasn't a short tackler, but I feel like all decade team for the 1990s. I think that's really significant. 4-time first team All Pro. That's pretty.
Yep.
The numbers kind of speak for themselves. Plus
the
invention of the Lambeau Leap, which honestly I feel like when you are considering someone's Hall of Fame caliber, things like that should definitely come into play. That should definitely come into play because that's literally changed the game of football. It's changed a storied franchise that has so much already, tradition and all of that, and to add a tradition this late in the game to a team that's been around since 1919, that's pretty significant. And it's like, honestly, the coolest celebration in all of sports because it's the only one that really invites the fans to celebrate along with you. So I think that's cool. So
it is cool.
He deserved it. all the way around, he deserved it. Yeah, good for him, and good to get another Packer in the Hall of Fame, man. Do you know? I think
So now, answer me this question.
Yeah.
I think don't Hall of Fame members automatically get into the Packers Ring of Honor?
That is, I don't think it's an automatic, but I do think you have to be in the Hall of Fame to be considered for the Ring of Honor.
Because there are obviously three different things. The Packers Hall of Fame, which everybody gets into.
Yep.
But not to talk shit about it, but just about everybody.
Just about. I mean, if you had a good career with the Packers, you're gonna get into you're gonna get in there.
You're gonna get in there.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you've got retired numbers, which there's only 6, which is, I think, very low. Compared to how many legends you had.
Well, I'm one of those kind of people. I feel like the retiring of the jersey is, I don't think it's sacred enough. I do think there could be more, but I feel like the Packers got a pretty good amount.
How many numbers did the Yankees retire? Like 30? It's something outrageous.
Well, the Yankees is a little bit different, and I mean, it's like, I don't know baseball, but I'm just, as far as football goes, I mean, the numbers the Packers have got retired. I mean, I don't know if you can name them all, but I would imagine Nitschke 66, Bart Starr, Brett Favre. Can you think of anybody else off the top of your head?
I know them all, but Canadeo, Hudson, Reggie White.
Don Hudson. How can I forget Hudson? Reggie White, and then Hudson. Did they retire Horning too? No.
What's interesting is I think they kind of unofficially retired that, not officially.
Okay.
But I don't think there's been a Packer player really to wear the number 5, except for, if you saw, there was a player in preseason that was wearing 5 for the Packers, which is kind of an odd thing to see.
It was
because it's kind of one of those unofficially retired numbers.
Real quick though, do you think there's a number that the NFL on a whole should retire? Like, no one in the NFL should wear it. Do you think there's a number like that? How they have the 42 in baseball? And I honestly think they should retire 23 in basketball, but maybe they'll wait till Michael Jordan dies or something. But
yeah, that would be. That's a good topic. I would have to really give that.
Let's think about it. Look, man. Let's get to the topics for today. I think that would be a good one to kind of discuss. There's got to be at least a handful of guys that could probably retire. Maybe number 12 for Mr. Thomas Patrick Edward Brady. Maybe they can retire that from the NFL. But before we get to the games, right, we got to get through camp. And we got to get through family night. And those family night was held last Friday. I happened to catch this notification from a YouTuber that I follow, and he was somehow streaming the game. I don't know how the fuck he was streaming the family night. I tried to find a way to get it. I couldn't find anywhere to get it. I was honestly so jealous. I almost thought about reporting him. That's how jealous I was. Just like snitching on him just to get him in trouble. But cooler heads prevailed, and I was like, God damn, man. That was kind of cool. I saw a little bit of it. I heard there was a lot of you mentioned it, Watkins, the odd man outside, it appears. No Watson, of course. Lazard, I haven't really heard much. I don't know if he performed well or what he's been kind of looking like, but the star of the show was Romeo Dobbs, and I heard that Love also looked pretty good. So, what's your takeaway so far from camp, and just a quick kind of piece on family night, if you wanted to speak on that?
I think my big takeaway is that I think it hurts Christian Watson not being available right now more than maybe and just because I think he's left the door open for other guys to get opportunities within this offense. And like we talked about last week, I just don't see 4 and wide receivers on the field very often for this team. If they go with a 4-by-1 type formation where they go maybe 4 receivers bunched on a side with another one on the outside, I think you're looking at where they split out maybe Tunyon or DeGuaro and then motion out Aaron Jones to play alongside 3 wide receivers. on a bunch, and so I don't see.
I mean,
very often where
I think that's an option. I think that there's a lot of weapons, and there's options to move tight ends and use people like halfbacks and upbacks and all these different kinds.
But the question is going to be: is in Aaron Jones or Tunyon more valuable in the passing game than insert Amari Rodgers, Randall Cobb, or one of these rookies? Is really what it's going to come. And you could argue that Aaron Jones is a better receiving option, potentially even lined up in the slot than some of those guys are at receivers. So that's where, I think, I just don't know. I think it's interesting. The way they have the depth chart lined up, it seems like they're kind of pandering to some of the veterans a little bit, but I just think it's going to be tough for the 4 or 5 guys to find significant playing time this year, especially being no experience coming into the season.
All right, since you mentioned it, since you mentioned it, you want to review the depth chart real quick, or you want to use this time to go to depth chart, or you want to or we could do that in depth, pun intended, next week or something, or because
we could talk about the receivers.
If you look at the depth chart right now on offense, well, the starting 3, I should say, is Lazard, Watkins, and Randall. I feel like Randall is kind of there by default, or there's a part of me that wants somebody to be able to move him out the way. I want somebody to be able to step up and replace a Randall or challenge him for reps. I mean, I guess the same kind of goes for Watkins. I mean, he's an older veteran guy who's had issues staying healthy, and to your point, it seems like they're favoring the veteran guys, which I guess kind of makes sense, and you can expect because they know the offense more. At least Lazard and Cobb will. Watkins not so much. So it seems like Watkins is just getting that veteran favoritism just because he's a veteran in the league, and not necessarily a veteran on his team. So, but I think those are the 2 positions where they could be the most, I guess, mix up or most movement. I mean, but maybe even Lazard. I honestly think it's wide open. I think it's wide open, and I think because Adams is gone, there will be a lot more moving parts. I think more substitution. There could be an opportunity for more guys to not just be okay, this is you're the X, you're the Y, you're the Z, you're this, you're that. Everybody, I feel like I'm hoping that with the collection of talent they have, a lot of size, a lot of speed, a lot of physicality, they can really put guys in different positions. And I mean, they could put Sammy in the slot, or put Sammy outside, or put Sammy in motion, or they could do all kinds of things. I mean, you can put Lazard. It depends on what you want. Maybe you want to run a running play with a screen that looks like a passing play, or maybe you want to pass out of a formation that looks like a running play. So I think they might get more creative with their formations this year, and I think they could get creative with their groupings. I feel like a lot of times, especially what happens to the Packers in the playoffs, is that teams really pick apart their tendencies. And the Packers, they get so used to, I guess, things that worked or what they're comfortable doing, that they don't add a lot of wrinkles in. And it's something that we saw paid huge dividends with the defense, right? They added in Barry added in a bunch of new I don't want to say a bunch, but he added in a handful of new wrinkles in the playoff game against San Francisco that pretty much shut them down completely.
Yep.
So I would like to see more of that from the offense in these critical moments, because I mean, honestly, can you think back over the last 3 years in these critical moments? Have there been many wrinkles in the offense?
It's always tough to tell when you've got Rodgers making audibles at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. My point is, or my question to you is, do you clearly sort of remember in a playoff game in the last 3 years where it's like, well, there was that one game when I remember they did this one play I never saw before, or they had this one play that caught the defense really off guard, and I just feel like they get kind of stale in.
It's tough to tell. It's like a lot of it is execution. I think you go back to the San Francisco game. I think it was a play action flat pass to Mercedes Lewis was a great play call.
Yeah.
That was an unexpected play call, and he fumbles the ball, and it changes the whole complexion of the game because of poor execution. So
yeah, but you can't let one play, right? I mean, you can't let one play
that's what it comes down
throw
to.
you off. I mean, yeah, it always comes down to one play. But I mean, I could see if that happened in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go, okay. But that happened like in the first quarter, like on the second drive. You know, it's like you going to throw away a whole game plan of wrinkles because one guy fumbled, like, you know, like.
No, I see what you're saying,
You
but
know what I mean? Like it just okay. That didn't work, or it really did work, but the dude fumbled. Let's keep going. Let's keep trying. Oh shit, run it again, but instead put someone else in his position that can catch the goddamn ball or who might not fumble. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to go back to that play. Like I don't even know if they went back to that play. Like sometimes,
and you know, I know what you mean. In theory, like I always kind of remember the the Patriots and Josh McDaniel and Tom Brady always kind of had a little bit of something up their sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not like a trick play necessarily, but they always had a play that was like a momentum changer in the game.
Something it was just a little bit different. Usually in the regular season, they never motion the tight end to this particular position, but for some reason they did because they saw something on film. You know what I mean? And they knew that that the DN was crashing, and if they put the tight end there, it could just spring the block. Just little things like that, I feel like can make a big difference. And not only could that make a big difference, but it's like I think this training camp is proving that, you know, these reps matter, and these reps are important. Same reason why I was, you know, saying that I feel like Jordan Love was a little bit behind on his development because he didn't have a lot of these practice reps. And we've seen, you know, looking at this depth chart, Romeo Doubs and Jawan Renfrey are right there on Watkins and Lazard's heels. I mean, I know you last week you had a little inside report. I mean, you got any inside report on this wide receiver competition? Because I mean, Roger said every day Romeo Doubs is turning heads, or he makes a play that, like, you know, people that makes
until
you stand
he got
out.
up Jair Island.
But I even saw a play. I saw a highlight where Ja broke up a pass in tight coverage, and I saw another play where Dobbs got past him and he dropped it.
And then what? Ja called offensive pass interference on him, I think.
Okay.
He was screaming for, but they were talking shit to each other, it sounds like, and I love that. I mean, I love those two guys going against each other, but I feel like Jair, which if it takes Jair to slow him down, then good for Dobbs, but he's burned Rasul today on, I guess, a beautiful ball thrown by Jordan Love into the end zone for a touchdown.
Beautiful balls by Jordan Love. That's what I want to hear.
He smoked Stokes, which we all have seen the video evidence of that play. And, you know, I think, you know, Jair Alexander's, you know, one of the best corners in the league. So
probably the best, honestly. Even though I know I said that Stokes could be the best, I was just, you know, just really trying to draw attention to, I feel like, the really good year that Stokes had as a rookie. But yeah, Jair's definitely the top dog on this defense still, and one of the top dogs in the NFL, I believe.
Christian Watson's going to have to really make up some ground when he comes back here.
But I don't want him to try to force anything. You know what I mean? It's like, ultimately, we're all on the same team. You're a first-round draft pick.
Here's the thing, man.
You're not going nowhere.
If Dobbs can come in and really be an impact guy, let's say, you know, predicting it, I would like to see him emerge as like the number 2 option. I really would. I think he's the only guy that has good speed next to Lazard. I think he's faster than Watkins, faster than Cobb, obviously younger, more versatile going down the field. So I think if there's any guy who's going to replace MVS, it's probably going to be Dobbs. Or it could have been Watson.
But I think, isn't Watson the fastest guy on the like receiver now in the room?
Yeah, but he's not playing.
Week one isn't even here. The guy
I understand
is
that,
going to
but
play at some point in
these
time.
reps are these reps are so meaningful. They're so meaningful, especially on a team that's reinventing their entire wide receiver room. And it's just, yeah, these are meaningful repetitions where guys are going to get continuous opportunities because they're available and they've been available for the entirety of training camp.
But
And
do you
I
think
just
this
think
is
it
a?
hurts.
I think it hurts him right now, but I mean, it doesn't hurt him in the long run. I mean,
It doesn't because
it
Cobb and Watkins aren't long-term
yeah,
solutions
Cobb
for
and
sure.
Watkins, Lazard is still only on a. I mean, the he signed like a 1 year deal, right? Like his tender is just for like this year, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah, for
mean,
sure.
next year there's like potentially 3 dudes that are gonna be gone next year. So I don't think. I mean, I see what you're saying for all of the hype that he had, and what do you know? The one when I mean, and still. I was getting ready to say the 1 year we drafted receiver in the first round. We still didn't draft him in the first round. We took him as closest to the first round as possible. And it's the guy that was drafted, in the 4th round was Dobbs?
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
It's the guy drafted in the 4th round who's turning heads, who's looking like he has the opportunity to be the sure thing from day one. And looking like he can be a major contributor, and looking like he has #1 receiver caliber written all over him. So, I mean, I think obviously, right, when you have guys like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, okay, yeah, you want to go up and get them, but it's like, can we please finally stop this nonsense about this first round draft pick? So I'm honestly just excited that there was like so much hope on Christian Watson, and now he's just like an afterthought. Like, it's honestly exciting to me that Dobbs has just burst onto the scene in like this supernova, like out of nowhere, just blazing bright and full of potential and turning heads and scorching all the top cornerbacks that we've been so proud of. We're talking about this is the #1 secondary, and he's coming through, and it's like, but as they say in a lot of these drills, it's kind of skewed, right? A lot of these drills are skewed towards the offense, for the offense to win. So and it's like every year this kind of stuff happens, and people freak out when Rodgers throws a couple of picks in practice, and Jordan Love looks great. And I mean, so it's like it's practice. And honestly, I think this is the perfect time for guys to make mistakes and guys to take risks and jump routes and try things and get burned because they're trying. So we don't even know why he got burned or why he's burning guys. There's a lot of context, I'm sure, but it is exciting that we have something to talk about. It'd be a lot more pressing of an issue if we were just talking about how none of these motherfuckers can get open and Dobbs is dropping passes and Watkins.
Well, that's a whole nother problem because the offense is getting blown up all over the field, seemingly by Rashawn Gary and your boy Wyatt, who I heard. We don't need to get into it.
But, look, are you timing?
Yeah, we're way over.
Yeah, we're a little over. Look, so that's why we just said we're gonna do wide receivers. But we got a couple weeks. We got 3 weeks. So each week, I feel like we can break down another little segment, part of it, and we'll get through it by the time the regular season.
Little nugget.
So let's move on to the next topic, man. Receiver room looking good. Defense looking good. It's like they hot. It's like too much of a good thing. Preseason game number 1 is coming up. We'll talk about that right after this 1-minute break. Stay tuned to the What's Packin' Sports Show. Jordan Love already given the green light to get the start this weekend. What are your initial thoughts about Jordan Love getting the start? And this was something that interesting that kind of came up to me about this, and you mentioned this early on. We talked about how the preseason would be a big thing for Jordan Love. Rodgers probably not going to play anytime. I mean, he talked about how much he hates it, how he's think it's dumb. I think I saw like a sound bite or something. I don't even remember. I was just scrolling and it popped up again. Him maybe at his locker room interview or something. Him kind of talking about how he just has no interest in preseason, and it gave me a quick thought. I was like, maybe that was one of the other reasons why Rodgers kind of has soured on McCarthy a little bit in his later years. Like, the play calling, conservativeness, the lack of new wrinkles and motion and all that kind of shit that the Shanahan and McVays and stuff was doing of the world. And then he kind of insisted that Rodgers at least play a series or two, every year, even though Rodgers really, you can clearly tell he despises preseason. And it's like, it was just a thought. But you can give your opinions on that. But more so, what do you think about Love getting this start in this preseason and how he's looked so far, and what you sort of expect to see from Jordan getting the start this week?
Yeah, I mean, my expectation is that he goes out and makes some plays.
Yeah.
He's got to go out and look good. He's got to go out and take the ball and move him down the field. He's got to make some good throws. He's got to move out of the pocket. He's got to scramble. He's got to do something. I mean, he's got to make Packer fans feel like he can be the guy in 2 or 3 years. And that's it. I mean, he's just got to go out there and make plays. I think I'd love to see him, with confidence. I think his demeanor has been different at times that we've seen him in games before, where, he looks more comfortable than at other times, just in the huddle or coming out of the pocket and throwing the ball. And, I mean, we know this guy can make good plays. He's done it in training camp so far. So now it's just about making them, when it really matters, and being consistent and stringing them together in a way that they can move the ball and put together meaningful drives. So I'm excited about it. I think you'll get some younger receivers to get some playing time as well. I think it's a big opportunity for Amari Rodgers, for Romeo Doubs, for Juwan Winfrey.
I mean,
some of these young tight ends that they got on this team. And Jordan Love's probably, you would assume, going to get at least one half of play, I would think. They'll probably play him through maybe even the third quarter, potentially. So you're going to get a really nice sample size of what Jordan Love can do against a pretty good team on the road.
I mean, do we even know the backup right now, the third string, quote-unquote guy?
Etling?
Okay. So yeah, I mean,
no, nobody knows.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my point being is, yeah, I mean,
just the guy, he's holding the clipport.
Yeah, he's a guy that
he's
is
going to be
like
fucking out of here. Danny Etling will be out of here in weeks. Probably his shit is still in his car in boxes. Probably living out of a suitcase right now, I would assume.
Living out the Motel 6. You got those.
He's probably staying in the hotel for sure. Yep, Motel 6.
Okay.
Or he's probably Airbnb-ing with somebody.
Or he's probably like bunking with somebody who he knows is going to be on the team,
For sure.
like the second string tackle, like he's pretty safe.
But yeah, he's out
bunking with someone. Okay, so I mean, I was trying to use that to gauge how much time Love might get, and I think it really kind of depends on how good he looks. If he comes out and he's fucking 7 for 7 on the first drive, leads a touchdown scoring drive on the first possession, I mean, yeah, he might get one or two more of those. If he just keeps doing that for 2 or 3 series, I think he'll be done. If he looks a little more sporadic, like you said, not terrible, but just like, okay, it's an improvement from what we've seen. Yeah, he might get a whole half, or something like that, because yeah, you don't really have another person behind him. But with there being one less game, if Love if he looks good early, I think they don't play him a lot because they want to evaluate as many guys as they can. And it's also like you kind of want to, I don't know, like the part of me that's like, I feel like there's a part of me is my think would be like, if he looks good, I don't want to expose him extra, you know what I mean? But then it's also like how much evaluating do you really want to even do for the third string guy that you probably won't even keep,
I've heard people saying they want Jordan Love to look good enough just good enough to be able to trade him
I
away.
know, man. And those are the people that are so
That's
fucking annoying. And those are the people that I'm still like, every time I see a comment like that, or every time I see him doing good, I'm like, and you are the freaking jack-offs that wanted to trade this dude. And it's like, we really might be the first franchise in history to just go from MVP to MVP to MVP. I mean, 40, 50 plus years we could be talking about MVP caliber, all pro, franchise level quarterback play. And it's like, I don't even understand at this point, but it's like now it's like, come on, man. Like, they're clearly invested in this dude. They clearly see something in him, and he's clearly developing. I mean, think about it. Like, even though Green Bay has always, had a quarterback to draft and develop, right? They always draft one and try to develop one, from Flynn to Tolzien to whoever the fuck else, Brett Hundley but
Brett
it's like
Hundley.
really honestly, since Matt Flynn, and I wouldn't even put Matt Flynn in Jordan Love's category. Like, Matt Flynn was like the guy they always wanted to draft, somebody just to have an arm, because you don't want to wear out your quarterback's arm, and you want a guy who, if he gets injured, yeah, he can come in and play. But we saw Matt Flynn wasn't really able to carry this team, and then we saw Matt Flynn go somewhere else and get beat up by a rookie. Of course, that rookie goes on to become Russell Wilson, who's putting up a nice career for himself. But the point is like, Green Bay had never really had a true bona fide backup quarterback with talent that they were actually grooming into being a starter. Since
you're right,
Aaron, right? All the other guys are just like throwaway guys, camp arm guys just to fill a spot, So with Love, is like, we haven't been in this situation before in a long time, and it's like, man, I almost don't even know what to expect. Like, yeah, maybe they just play him the whole game. Maybe he just plays the whole freaking game. I mean, it wouldn't be too crazy.
He probably could play 3 quarters.
Yeah, and it's like, that would be incredible. And imagine he looks great. Imagine he plays 4 quarters and he looks great. It's like, all those fans that were saying he needs to be traded, like, what are they going to say now?
He's not playing against anyone.
He's not playing against anybody. But then if you went out there and looked like shit, they'd be like, say he's a bust. So it's like, it's like, you can't win. You really can't win until you win. Until you win on Sunday when it counts, you really can't win. But man, I'm excited to see. I have high hopes and lots of belief and faith in Jordan Love. I think he's gonna go out there. I think he's gonna kill it, man. I think he's gonna look good. I think he's gonna be. He might be the talk of the town come Monday, because first week of preseason is gonna be balls to the wall. It's going to be, we're going to have football back on the highlights again on ESPN. We're going to have on your Instagram, ESPN Instagram. It's going to be all over the place. Catches, touchdowns. It's going to be exciting. But I don't think, and we're going to be able to chance to see Trey Lance. I kind of forgot about that. And I'm telling you now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They have gone all the way in with Trey Lance. They said, we're moving on. This is his team. And a lot of people are down on the Niners. And I'm trying to tell you, this has 2015. No, was it 2012? What year is that when Robert Griffin III was a rookie?
Ooh, 2012.
2012. This has 2012 written all over it. A lot of people forget, man.
You think he's going to be doing Trey Lance doing Subway commercials?
He might not be doing Subway commercials, but I think he is going to be. He can be just as effective as Robert was in this offense, because it's the same offense. It's the same offense. And you've got a better athlete in Trey Lance, I believe. Robert might be faster, more straight line speed. He was a track guy after all, but I think Lance is a better athlete. He has more wiggle. He has more movement. He has better fluidity in his hips, and he can actually. He's an athlete. He's not just like a straight line runner like Robert was. He's a playmaker. He's coachable, right? Robert Griffin III was not coachable at all. They have the running game. They have the running backs. They have the defense. They have the weapons. I mean, I think Trey Lance is going to surprise some people, and I think the Niners are going to surprise some people this year. I feel like a lot of people are putting them in third place right now. And I think they could be contending for that division. I'm trying to think of some of the other storylines around the NFL. We didn't have a number one quarterback taken this year. So there's not going to be anyone else really kind of people are looking at.
Kenny Pickett a lot of attention.
I mean, yeah, Kenny Pickett, yeah, for sure, because he's got an opportunity to start he got an opportunity to start, and then yeah, I mean, all of the young quarterbacks will always be storylines. But I'm just saying, if Jordan Love comes out and he's like, whatever, completes more than 66% of his passes, has more than 250 yards and like 3 touchdowns, I mean, that's going to be a huge storyline. That's going to be a huge storyline. Whether it's like, is he trade fodder, or if it's going to be, finally he's looking good. I mean, I just think that'll just be a huge storyline because he has been since he was drafted, because that was dominated the night. You know what I mean? When the night he got drafted, everyone was like, what the fuck are the Packers doing?
Yep.
And then ever since then, that started all the drama with Rodgers. I mean, he's the catalyst. He's the catalyst for it all, man. For everything that's transpired for the last 2-3 years with the Packers, man. It all starts and really it's going to end with Jordan Love. So, I mean, that's really the most excited part that I'm most excited about. You had brought up, Darnell Savage and concerns that you might have for him, and we talked about Jordan Love.
I don't think I was concerned.
Okay.
My wife asked me about it, and I said, well, let's just put it this way. He's the worst player on the defense, and it doesn't seem that Matt LaFleur is too concerned about it, which I think is a pretty realistic take at this point, right?
Is there a particular reason why your wife brought it up? Was it like, did he look bad in camp? Did he look bad in practice? Or she was
very concerned about the injury. And I said, oh, yeah, don't worry about that. Right? Because I just don't think it's that big of a deal.
Okay, so clue me in. He's injured, right? He's injured right now?
Yeah, he left family night with an injury. Darnell Savage. You didn't hear about that?
No, I did not hear about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he left. Did we have any sort of disclosing of the injury?
Things like a
whereabouts
tightness in the hamstring.
Okay, hamstring tightness. Okay, I think I did hear about that. I think I did hear about that. Some hamstring tightness. Yep. I mean, it's better. Yeah, I mean, hamstrings are tricky. Hamstrings are kind of tricky.
Oh yeah.
Once you kind of get them, it's almost like Pringles. Yep. It's just hard to stop. Once they pop,
they linger. They linger. You're right.
So I mean,
you're right about that.
It's good to kind of just keep them throttled down. Maybe he'll be on a pitch count. Maybe they'll have to monitor that. So maybe it is something to kind of keep an eye on, which is a good little segue into this little segment I wanted to do called, just all eyes on who blank, like what or who are you really going to be watching for aside from Jordan Love, because everyone's going to be watching Jordan Love, or maybe honestly, some people might not be. Some people might not be. I feel like as much as people hate Jordan Love, maybe some people aren't going to be watching for him, or they're going to just be hoping for him to fail. But I feel like if you're a true fan, you want to see this dude come out and look good, so everyone's going to watch him. You're saying Quay Walker. All eyes on Quay Walker for you. That's who you're going to be most glued on to try to see.
Yeah, it could be Wyatt. I think it's going to be both those first-round pick rookies for sure. Can we field a punt?
Yeah.
Can we return a kickoff? Can we cover a kickoff? Can we cleanly snap the ball for an extra point or a field goal? So, I mean, the fundamentals of special teams that were such a disaster last year.
On this show, we got to call it we
I will not say it.
You won't say it?
I refuse.
Why? Why are you hating on the defense?
I'm not buying in. I'm not buying in yet.
Oh wow, we have a detractor. We have a we fence detractor.
That's right.
On
You
my
gotta prove it to me first.
own show. What kind of mutiny is this?
I've been laying in the weeds for weeks now on this.
So how
But
come you're
here
not
it
all?
is, man.
Okay, so this could have been your toxic take. You got some toxic takes. You just don't want to put them out there. Toxic Tom. We gotta start calling you Toxic Tom.
I just don't know if Versace is, he's got a lot of work to do.
You're
Is
really
he resonating with the players? Tough to tell. I don't really know. Are they making improvements? It sounds tough, man. I hear they're having problems fielding kicks. I hear that they have problems with the snap. They're looking for a long snapper. Who knows what the hell's going on with the kicker position right now? It's just
Is it not Crosby?
Crosby's injured. He's on the pup list.
Crosby's injured too? Man, I've been out.
He's not even on the depth chart right now.
I have been out of the loop. I've been out of the loop, man. I gotta get my ass. Look, I need to get back into training camp. I gotta get back into shape on my coverage watching because I'm out the loop. I didn't know Crosby was also injured. Okay, so look, man, I'm all brought on the Wii fence. I'm intrigued that you aren't bought in, even though you said Versace was your key guy. I feel like is this your number one thing? Is this really your number one thing? Like you feel like the number one thing that that you need to see the biggest improvement on? I mean, you could say obviously that it needs the most improvement,
for sure.
Obviously, but
because
it's like
I think in preseason special teams play is just about as close as it's going to get to what you're actually going to see during the regular season for the most part.
So you think it's the truest evaluation that you can get?
It really is. Yeah, it really is. Because you're not going to you get those guys are competing for valuable roster spots at those positions. So you're going to be sending out who I think it takes the most time probably to get some cohesiveness on the special teams unit. So I expect that to be, if it looks bad in the next few weeks, it's probably going to look bad in the regular season. Whereas, if the offense looks like shit, you could make all kinds of excuses like Rodgers wasn't playing, or the defense, you say this guy isn't playing, blah, blah.
They're not really game planning.
Totally different. Yeah. But if the special teams look shitty over the next 3 weeks, that will be very concerning.
It's not really
very concerning.
So
because you can't be missing kicks this year. You can't give the Bengals 3 or 4 opportunities to beat you in the regular season. You go down and on the converse side, you beat San Francisco on the last minute kick, but what if that goes the other way? So you can't cost yourself 2 to 3 games this season on special teams type blunders where you can't make a kick or you can't punt the ball or field a snap. It's just these things cannot happen. And I think they've shown over time to be the difference maker between teams winning the Super Bowl is being able to have at least a middle-of-the-road special teams unit. And for the Packers to do that, they're going to have to crawl out of the gutter of the special teams ranking into a
respectable unit. They have to be respectable.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
tough.
And and this is the thing to me where I was like, as excited as I was about Bisaccia. I'm always a coach's coach, players play kind of a guy. And no matter how good a coach is going to coach, or how great a coach is, or how smart a coach is, if you don't have the players to execute or to play at that level, it's going to be hard to get the results that you are looking for. So maybe this is sort of exposing the Packers, depth at these positions or talent, at on Wii fence, right? On this side of the ball. Maybe they just need more talent in those areas, and they haven't necessarily drafted guys to play, teams, and instead they drafted guys. It's like if you don't make it onto the starting position, then you're gonna just be doing this. And Bisaccia said coming in, like, that's not how I coach it. That you need guys who are going to be dedicated to this, and it could just take time to find that. And like you said, maybe guys have to buy in, but it's like, I mean, I don't get it. Like, how much buying in does it fucking take? If this is your only opportunity,
we'll see.
You need to fucking, like, you need to be bought in. Like, I don't understand how much buying in it takes. You're also, is that what you're all eyes on the defense / special teams?
I think so. And then, I think you're going to look at the young, high draft picks to see how they perform. But it's like it's a big day for Amari Rodgers.
Or somebody back there, right? Someone needs to step up. I agree with you
Jack
there.
Coco and Gabe. I don't even know how to pronounce this kicker's last name, to be honest. But those freaking guys are going to have to. They're going to have to show me something. Rico Gafford.
He's a retread. I feel like they've had him here before.
For sure. Packers were working out a bunch of specialists today. Well, they brought in a bunch of guys.
There you go. That's the Bisaccia effect.
For
man.
Sure.
He's bringing these guys in. He's trying to get them to realize the importance of the defense. I'll have my eyes on those guys. I think we definitely got to see a play here or there. And the young guys on defense, I mean, I haven't got a chance to see Devontae Wyatt in pads. I hope he gets a lot of playing time. Quay Walker, hope to see him get some playing time. And I mean, off receiver, but I've never really been worried about receiver. I always felt like they were going to figure it out, and I felt like the guys they had were good enough. So it's really going to be like, who does Love kind of latch on to? Who does he make plays with? But I'm also going to be curious about this offensive line. I'm going to be curious about the offensive line. We know we're missing the 2 tackles. We've got some rookies. We got some second year guys. So, and we got we got rookies from last year. We got rookies from this year, and we've got a couple of veterans. So I think some of course, Love's success is going to rely on the offensive line, and I feel like it also depends like how many of the quote unquote starters outside of Aaron Rodgers who won't be playing, like how many other players are going to be, starters out there with Jordan Love to give him the most authentic sort of starting experience. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
for sure.
And I feel like this is only the second year with the 3 games, so I think teams are still trying to figure out how they want to evaluate. Is it better to do it the first game of the season or the second or the third? So I mean, we're still kind of going into that process. So it is exciting to be in this position with a lot of young talent to evaluate. I mean, because like usually with the team like the Packers, it's you're pretty much set. But we're lucky that we have a position with Jordan Love and some other key spots where there is some real competition that has to be played out. So all eyes for me. I'm gonna say defense. I'm with you there, and probably the young defenders. The 2 young defenders. I want to see them in action.
Packers have no fullback on the roster.
Interesting. That's an interesting little tidbit, but I feel like DeGuara and Big Dog are going to get some chances at that position, and they'll probably. I really could honestly see maybe Dylan or them just putting other people in the position of fullback.
Yeah,
and I'm a little surprised that they don't have one though. I'm just a little surprised they don't have one, but I think that I think that's really they plan on filling it with another role, to kind of one guy kind of doing multiple roles, and that's the exciting thing about this year. I really hope to see a lot of just new faces, all in all the places this year on offense.
Yep.
Quick around the NFL. News we did see. Did you see Tucker got paid? The kicker for the Ravens.
No.
Yeah, man.
What was that
He signed
contract?
like a 4-year extension. He got like 17 million guaranteed. He's like the highest paid kicker. And I feel like this Tucker dude, I mean, he would need some more like playoff success with the Ravens. Would need to make some more playoff success, but I mean, I think, he would have a chance at coming at Vinatieri. I feel like Adam Vinatieri or Vinatieri, whatever how you pronounce it. He was like definitely the kicker of the last couple of decades. He was clutch.
4 years, $24 million. Good for him.
Yeah, man, good for him. So I mean,
big money.
Yeah, it's big money for a kicker, man. I mean, but he's the most. He's clutch, man. He's clutch. He's got a strong leg. He has the record now, right? Didn't he break the record last year? 66 yards or something?
I think so.
Yep. So, I mean, he kind of does it all. He's the most accurate. He's got the biggest leg. He's got the longest kick in history. He's got the most accuracy in history. He'll probably go down as, maybe the greatest kicker, most points, all that shit. So, good for
him.
What other I feel like there was a couple of other news stories that I wanted to mention around the NFL. But it has nothing to do with the NFL. But I mean, do you have any quick thoughts on this whole Brittany Griner thing, man? Getting 9 years.
I thought they were swapping her out.
I thought so too, but they said they were going to wait.
Some shit.
I thought so too, but apparently they said the Russia decided to wait to those were the terms, right? But then they kind of decided to wait to negotiate it till after the sentencing, and they're still working on it. But it's like, damn, 9 years in a Russian prison.
I'm sure that obviously, Russia now has more leverage in any type of swap situation than they would have before, is what they were thinking. So all this probably means is that, they're going to get back more arms dealers or drug smugglers or whoever the hell else they want to deport back from the United States into Russia. But listen, man, the bottom line comes down to, Russia's one of those places that you just can't fuck around if you're going in there. I mean, they're fucking crazy. They are crazy. They're insane. I mean, look at the shit they're doing. They got a president who's a psychopath running that country. So, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. She got herself in a tough spot.
Yeah, and it's like
in one of the worst places for that to happen.
One of the worst places for that to happen at like the worst time for it to happen. I mean, it's very high tension over there, and I have sympathy for her, and it sucks, and it's like, damn, it does kind of feel like she's being sort of taken advantage of in this situation. But then, I saw someone posted a meme, sort of whatever you want to call it, like video on TikTok, and it was a guy just like on his couch, like looking so comfortable and sleeping, and had like this peaceful music in the background, and it's just like, it's like basically the gist of it was like, if the shoe was on the other foot, this is how Brittany Griner would be sleeping with your ass in a fucking Russian prison right now. So it's like, as much as it's become a story, and I feel like there's a certain section of the people who have pushed it because they've made it a political thing about, feminism and all this kind of stuff. When these sorts of things happen, it does, like, my immediate thing is like, damn, I do kind of feel bad for her. But then it's like, yeah, like, there's probably some person we've never heard of who's really a freaking prisoner of war or something right now, getting treated way worse, and we'll never hear about because he or she is not a famous athlete. So it's like, it does kind of like, I don't know, it just makes me feel like, do we really care? Do we really care? Like, should we even really care? Like, not to sound mean or cynical, but it's like, right, if the shoe's under the foot, it's not like Brittany Griner would be out here thumping on the desk for us, like, man, we got to get Tom out of Russian prison.
No, she wouldn't.
So it's like,
she wouldn't for sure.
Social media, man, it really creates like an interesting, like, little fucking social experience.
It is. There's a lot of hot takes flying around, but in reality, I think, you know, yeah, man, like, we should want to like get her back to the
Yeah,
country.
yeah.
I mean, I would hope that we could extend the same grace to any human being that
Anybody.
found themselves in a similar spot, as long as they are, you know, somewhat remorseful, I guess, and can learn from the experience and become a better person out of it. Then I hope that we could all like go to bat for one another.
Yeah,
Honestly, I mean, whether or not we all agree with her statements or politics or whatever the case might be,
yeah.
but man, it's so divisive, and everyone is just sees it as an opportunity to
Yes.
either throw her own words in her face or whatever it
Right.
could
Or
be. And
stand on their little
but that's just
soapbox or whatever they call it and just use it as
yep.
opportunity to like, hey man, this is what we're trying to say, and this is what and this is why. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I mean, just like you said, just as a human being, it sucks to be in that position. And if I was in that position, I would want, to be able to come home to, or people to want me to come home to. Before we wrap it up, since we did the Packers superlatives, I was thinking we could kind of do the NFL honors predictions for 2022. Offensive Rookie of the Year,
Mm-hmm.
Defensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, Comeback, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year. I think those are all of the ones. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and even at the end of this list, we could maybe give one suggestion for an award that they should create, because there's like one or
Mm.
two that I feel like they might as well come on with it, man, and really make the
I
fucking
do think
NFL.
there's a touchdown celebration of the year.
Is there a touchdown celebration of the
Uh-huh.
year? One of the ones that I do think there should really be is like offensive line of the year. You know, like
Yeah,
show
that's
some
pretty
love to
good.
the big uglies, and a crew be like, hey man, you guys are the best offensive line of football. Here's something that you guys can all celebrate, you guys, because you guys don't get enough love as it is. So we're gonna start off with offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year. And did you have any nominations for these two categories off the top of your head?
I did, and when I look at the list, I think immediately, there's some names to pop up. I kind of looked at the NFL or the Vegas odds to see where different guys were at, but I think like it's going to probably be a quarterback, wide receiver, or running back. That's
Right.
historically, who this award has gone to, including your boy Eddie Lacy back in 2013. You
Did
may
he really
remember.
win offensive rookie of the year?
He did,
Shut the
which
fuck
makes it
up.
even more depressing.
Are you kidding
Now
me?
no, I'm not. I couldn't
He
believe
wasn't
it when
like
I saw
runner
that
up
today.
or something. Like they only give that to one
No,
person, right? It's not like
no.
a
Yeah, he
wow.
won.
I did not know
He won.
Eddie Lacy run offensive rookie of the year. Wow, that does make it all the more like. And honestly, I really feel like you see me, man.
Depressing.
Look, you see me right here, man. You see, I'm rocking with Lacy, man. This is the
I know.
honestly,
Yeah, I loved him too. But for my pick, I will say
yeah.
just because I think this guy is in the best position to succeed this year
Okay.
out of all the skilled players taken in the draft. I think the absence of Julio Jones and Mr. A.J. Brown will open up a major opportunity for
Traylon.
Mr. Traylon Burks, who I love. I wish he could have fell down to Green Bay, but that was not going to happen. But over the Garrett Wilson with the Jets and Brees Hall, and actually Christian Watson has the seventh best odds to win Offensive Rookie of the Year
Yeah,
this
give me
year.
the
But
top
I think
five real quick.
yep, Kenny Pickett, Drake London with the Falcons, Traylon Burks, Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson are the top five. And I think out of those top five, I think Traylon Burks is in the best position with a good team and a good quarterback, and not a lot of guys ahead of him where he's going to get some opportunities to make plays. So I still like him. I think Olave, Jameson Williams, I think they get hurt a little bit by just the shitty teams and shitty quarterbacks. Maybe I guess we'll see what happens with the Saints, but like Jamison Williams in Detroit, I don't know how many opportunities he's going to
Well, he's
get with
still
that
injured,
team.
right? He's not even like fully recovered yet, right? Like I don't
Well,
think.
yeah, he is. He is still recovering for sure. But
So who's your
that it's
defensive
my
player of the year though? You got so offensive rookie of the year, Treylon Burks. I think that's a great one. How about
I think
defense?
in a similar way that I feel about being on a team that's going to be successful. I think Quay Walker has a legitimate shot, just because of what you saw Micah Parsons do last year in Dallas. I think that the linebacker position has become
It's
the
trendy
most
again.
impactful. Yeah, impactful. But it used to be like safety, where like if you had a guy like Leroy Butler, John Lynch, or Brian Dawkins, who could be smart and physical and play up on the line and who could be instinctive, it was a game changing player. And I think in a similar way, Micah Parsons did that last year with Dallas, run defensive rookie of the year. And I think Quay Walker can easily have that opportunity. If not there, I really like Kayvon Thibodeau with the Giants. I think he was very impressive coming out of the draft, but then I just wonder, like, how many opportunities is he going to have to shine playing for the Giants team versus the Packers, who are going to have a very good defense, and
Well,
Quay Walker is going to benefit from being in that spotlight. You would think in primetime games with big opportunities, chance to play alongside Devondre Campbell. I think he's going to be able to be a little bit more free and loose on the field because he's going to have guys around him that can kind of hold it down. So with the fourth best odds to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, I think that's a solid option.
okay. And so
in
who
Quay
are the top
Walker,
five?
for sure.
Thibodeau had to be on there.
We got Aiden Hutchinson,
Aiden, of course.
Thibodeau, Trayvon Walker,
Walker.
edge rusher Jaguars, Quay, and Jermaine Johnson with the Jets.
Yeah, I think the Trayvon Walker dude and Aiden Hutchinson probably will be right up there. Thibodeau with the Giants. I mean, it's like, yeah, he's in New York, and we talked about this, right? The market. I mean, if anything you do in that market, even if your team is some ass, you're gonna be getting all of the articles and all of the clickbait. So if he stands out, it won't matter how bad they are. If he stands out, he'll definitely be able to get it. I'm kind of gonna go. Maybe I guess you could see it as like kind of the obvious choices here. I like Pickett. I think it's a great story.
Okay.
I think it's a great opportunity, great fit. We've kind of been down this road before, with Tomlin and a young quarterback.
Sure.
I guess technically that was Cowher's. Cowher won the first time with Ben, but I mean then Tomlin came back a couple years later, won it again with Ben. So
yep.
It's just a perfect situation, and the kid is a baller, man. I love this Pickett dude. I didn't know. I kind of had forgot that he was the dude. I don't know. I know you're not really a big college football fan, but in the
what do you mean? I love college football.
But it was this play. There was this play in the bowl games where a kid faked like he was about to slide. Did you hear about this?
Nope.
So yeah, man, and I forgot that it was this dude, but it was Kenny Pickett, man, and he was playing in the game. It was one of the bowl games, and he was running, scrambling on the side, down like the right side, took off, and there's like a defender, maybe 5-10 yards ahead of him, and he like just improvisationally, he just sort of did this movement with his arms and sort of dragged his back foot for like just a second and completely sold a fake slide.
Let me look at it right now.
And he got the defender to like ease up, and he literally just runs right past the defender, and he scores on like this like 50-60 yard run or something crazy.
Oof, that was a good play.
Wasn't that so fucking slick?
It was.
To me, that's just the kind of thing that just defines a person willing to sort of like, I've never seen that before. No one's ever seen it before. And for him to do it, and for him to be the first, maybe people have thought about it. Maybe someone did it in practice, but he did it.
I mean, he froze that defense up I mean, they just stopped in their tracks. Like the
Stopped
play
in
was
their
over.
tracks, and he sold it perfectly. I mean, and he's running full speed, so he could have easily like did that and tripped and fumbled and fucked up. You know what I mean? So it's like I think that's kind of like an underrated like sort of athletic thing he just pulled off on national television, like in the moment. And it just speaks to his character. To me, it just speaks to his mindset, his like do anything to win mentality, like, you know. And I feel like he will be embraced 1,000% by Pittsburgh. He's went to Pitt. I mean, it just seems like a perfect fit. And defensive player of the year, man, as much as I want it to be Quay, I think it could be Quay. I really think that we both sort of underestimated Devontae Wyatt's impact. I picked Jaron Reed as the key addition or someone who might surprise, I believe. But I think it could possibly be this Wyatt kid, man. Like, I just feel like from what I heard, every time he's had an interview, first of all, I love his interviews. Everything he has to say, love it. He brings that energy. I think he brings what this team needs more of, what they have in Rashawn Gary, but Rashawn Gary is not a vocal guy. So we still need a vocal leader who can play and who make plays and who's flashy a little bit. So, because we talked about all of our leaders really are not vocal. I don't think we have really many vocal leaders on the team. That the only one was really Z, and he's gone. So
agreed.
And really the fact that he's gone to me is like kind of says he was never really a leader. You know what I mean? Like So someone's got to step up into that role, and I think naturally this Wyatt kid seems like he's just naturally kind of fitting into it. As soon as pads came on, he was thumping, he was moving people, and he was flashing. And I said if he could just do that on a consistent basis this year and be like just pop out, that's gonna be with Kenny Clark and everything else around him, that could move the needle. Quite honestly, that really could move the needle. And if he does, and he is able to, I think that would give him. And he does have some name recognition. He was part of that super big Georgia draft. So I think people are going to be kind of keeping their eyes out on all those Georgia Bulldog guys. He feels really comfortable because he's got a couple of other guys that he played football with at Georgia. So I think he's just in a really great situation. I think he's in a really great situation. So he could surprise. But if it's not him for our own selfish reasons, I think it will be this Aiden Hutchinson kid or whatever, or someone like that. I think it would just kind of be someone you expect it to be. But I'm gonna go with Wyatt and Pickett. Wyatt and Pickett are gonna be my choices for offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year.
I mean, we could put those up to a poll. Those two combos.
We could put those up to a poll. We got a couple polls from couple weeks ago that we haven't put up.
I mean, defensive player of the year, Wyatt or Quay would be a no-brainer because they both play for Green Bay. It'd be interesting to see which one Packer fans think has a better shot.
Okay, of our choices. Okay. I like that. And then, right. Okay. We could do that. I like that.
Let's do that one for sure.
Let's do that one for sure. Hey, man, good call. And, I mean, we're like basically right on time.
Maybe, what are you excited about in the preseason game? We could do defensive rookies versus Jordan Love versus special teams as a 3-way vote and see what comes out there.
Yeah, I think that's
what are
a good
you
one
most excited to watch for in the preseason game?
I
could put that one out tomorrow, and then that'll be done by Thursday night.
Bada bing. Love to hear
it.
Look
at this.
Love
make a
to
decision.
See it. And
make a decision.
And it's good. And make decisions, and we get them, and we make it, and we make it happen. That's it for today's show. Episode 34 in the books. That is Tom of the Green Bay House. Follow him at the Green Bay House on Instagram and the GB House on Twitter. How has your Twitter been going? How has that been going?
Sucks,
I haven't
man.
been able
I don't
to.
know how to use Twitter. I'm not clever enough to use Twitter, is what I realized.
But Twitter.
Nobody gives a shit at what I have to say.
Yeah, Twitter, man. It is
there.
really like people just are drawn to the same. It's like it really is like an echo
You
chamber.
gotta invest. Like it's a daily. I would have to invest several actions per day into Twitter to make that work. I feel like, and that's like Instagram. I can pop off something here or there. I could put out a post or a reel maybe every week or two, and it's fine. But Twitter, man, I would really have to. I would have to dig in.
Yeah.
Like Instagram's the perfect amount of engagement with my lifestyle.
For your lifestyle, yeah.
Twitter just seems.
No, yeah. I don't understand how these people are constantly tweeting. Like
I know,
like the reporters and all this stuff. Like you must have someone who does it for you.
You must be. Yeah, if you're a beat reporter, you like have to be on your phone, seemingly all the time. I mean, they're doing play-by-play of the training camp on their phone.
But I feel
it's crazy.
I feel like the best time for Twitter, but not really. Honestly, yeah, I don't think Twitter's the medium for you because you don't want to get into the weeds. You don't want to get into the trenches. The best time to get on Twitter is in the season because that's when everyone's really on it, complimenting, oh, this ref's, how can you miss this call? Wow, he just got trucked. I mean, it's a very reactionary thing. So it's like having a conversation. So when during the games and during the season is the best time to be on Twitter if you're about that life, and it's the only time, or it's really the best time for growth. Until the next show. Until the next show, go Pack, go, and remember, the Bears still suck. Peace.